Right. Okay. Welcome back to The Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows. Anime Review, episode number 2. We're here reviewing episodes 3 and 4 for the series. 3 is simply, but basically, you have the 3 slum leaders, basically, where they keep hanging out, they keep getting injured, and this leads into the 3 of them having a big brawl at a local coliseum. They don't call it a coliseum, even though it looks like one. And of course, Zenos basically was watching everything. Apparently, he was healing everybody and felt like everybody was supposed to kill everybody else. No, everybody's all perfectly fine. They all got billed for it, and they all became close friends. That kind of what happens over the course of this episode. Also, the fact that, well, Lily and Camilla kind of theorized what these 3 ladies were fighting over. Zenos, because they all have a thing for him. There's at one point where he sneezes and has the 3 girls, but 2 of the girls, like, one, like, ooh, I just basically, like, I'll wrap you basically up in my tail just for a cold. Yes, a cold. And of course, because these 3 species have stopped fighting each other, like, oh, there's something evil afoot. So sent out basically a knight who basically has a poor sense of direction. Iron Rose. Well, her actual name is Chrisana, voiced by Emma Lopez. She does a really good job voicing her. Yeah. By the way, Zophia's brother, who appeared in episode 2, he's voiced by Jesse Pennick, who does play a small role in here. So, pretty much basically, she has to go to the slums, and of course I mentioned, the way this thing works is that the realty, that they were all nice and harmony, and the poor live in a terrible area, aka the slums. Which, this may be the first anime I've seen where it actually picks slums this particular way. Except they don't use the fact that one thing that they brought this up when I watched How Realistic Rebuilt the Kingdom, where the slums had a really terrible smell. Here, there's no mention of a smell per se. It's just that the buildings run down. Probably needs a good paint job there. So, after talking to a couple of them, and they don't give any answers, she does see, of course, Zola. Of course, she tries to go after them, she gets lost, and just by sheer coincidence, she ends up at Zenos' clinic, where she briefly stays on his bed. And also the fact that, well, how should I put this? Yeah, and she goes with the wrong conclusion, you found this meteor, and of course she's an elf girl, possibly kidnapping. So, then she proceeds to shoot Zenos, but Zenos is like, ow. Yeah, he deflects things of his magic. She thinks that he only knows defensive magic, despite thinking it's a healer. Later on, when she comes by, Zola just happens to be visiting at that point. Excuse me, Zofia. And she mentions, did you know there's actually a aristocrat behind this series of kidnappings? They're who is it? This count? Really? I suppose the guy who loves kids. Are you sure? You have a look under the surface? And she's so picky about it, but then she decides, maybe I should check it out. And she does. By herself. Talks to Count for a bit, and looks on nothing really wrong there. And those there's a well. Climbs down, and discovers that, Zofia actually was telling the truth. He does have kidnapped Joan down there, possibly so for slavery. He sees this as an opportunity to shoot this woman, or apparently blows off her arm, part of her torso, and look up Zenos and Zofia come by. He, of course, is embarrassed by Zenos, by him, of course, shooting him, of course, nearly shredding his clothing. Look up, basically, he's decent to cover himself up. And of course, because she's sort of a hero, because she does mention her mother died in the slums. As for who killed her, they haven't really seen it, but it should be interesting. And they free the kids, and of course, become allies afterwards. Really good standalone episode. I mean, it feels like a standalone episode, but it's basically part of the main series per se. But overall, still 2 good episodes. Yeah, I do notice though basically that basically Sophia does play a role here. I mean, she's appeared in the first 4 episodes so far. Not in the case of basically, well, as for the other two, which is Logan and Lau, they actually, I think they appear a small role in episode 4, but they don't actually appear more than, they only appear in like one scene. Oh, and the studio who basically mentions this, who makes this series, it's made by a studio named Akira, which I have no info about the studio at all. Aside from the fact that they're the ones who actually makes it, per se. Yeah, I know nothing about this company at all. Let's see as many shows basically they worked on where. So apparently, aside from this one, they have worked on officially 3 shows. Actually, 2 others. One is a show known as That's Journey. And the other is known as Kikiro Bed and Breakfast Season 2. They did not work on the first season show. No movies. They did 1 ONA for Keno. Not much else they worked on per se. Yeah, so far this has been the, well, there was one other one they worked on. This is, looks like to be like a special. Yeah, they worked on one special, but first show they worked on, and it's really good. I'm enjoying this so far. Yep. Not much else to say about these 2 episodes, aside from the fact they're really good. Yeah, so that is pretty much it for a particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up, the next 2 episodes. Okay, next 2. Bye.